Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio. So today we need to take a look at a couple of new Misty cards. And we also need to kind of talk about the fact, what is going on with Misty in Hot Air Arena, and why is Misty getting so much less love than the other trainers in Hot Air Arena? I thought Misty was quite popular. But starting off here, we got a Staryu and a Starmie, and fun little side note, Starmie's name in French is Starros. And if you listen to the original poker app, it's got the same Pokemon in the same order in French, but with their French names. So there's this weird kind of end of a verse where they shout, Starros! And that makes me very happy. Is this any good? Honestly, yeah. Yeah, it kind of is. Now, in terms of Staryu here, we've got single energy, 20 damage, flip a coin, if heads, paralysis. Is this a game-changing attack? No. Is this a useful attack that can buy yourself a turn while you're trying to set up and get rolling? Oh my, yes. It's not really much more than that, incidentally. I always think back to the days where the electric decks were becoming very popular, and then all of a sudden people realized they could just play around with Tynamo for a little while, just buy some time to set up. Although, I should kind of mention, a little side note with this, the reason why Tynamo was so good was because we had Victini at the time, and because we had Victini, it meant that you could essentially have a 75% chance of heads rather than a 50% chance of heads, which I'm going to be honest with you, did make quite a bit of a difference. Never mind, eh? But the point is, you get paralysis on a coin flip, it's fine, it's not great, it's not perfect, it's not the reason to play the deck, but it's a nice, handy little bonus regardless. But Starmie, now that is one that we can absolutely get behind. What we got with Starmie here is, if you evolved this turn from Staryu, and as a side note, it does from Misty Staryu, it does specifically say evolved from Misty Staryu, so that means that if we get a weird thing in the future where you can evolve from other stuff, this won't actually work to get the extra damage, because the extra damage only works if you evolve from Misty Starmie. But it then does 80 more damage, which is 140 in total. And you know what? Yeah. Like, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that this is some kind of absolutely stunning, phenomenal attack. What I am going to pretend is that this is a very useful attack for just an ordinary everyday do a bunch of damage. You're hitting for weakness, and if you are hitting for weakness, it'll be 280, that's going to be brilliant. Or you need to just get a single prize Pokemon, so you just whack this out, and it's hitting 1 in 40, which most of the time, not all the time, but most of the time is going to be enough to go and get a one-hit KO on single prize Pokemon, and you add that all up together, and actually, yeah, this is kind of useful. Because we've seen Misty's decks. We know how Misty's coming. And weirdly right now, it looks like Misty's not getting an EX. And that is bizarre to me. Misty's not on the booster pack for Hot Air Arena. And that's, again, super weird to me, because I always kind of thought Misty was really popular. So this is all very, very weird. But of course, the main Misty's card we've got is Misty's Gyarados. And Misty's Gyarados is potentially, like, genuinely awesomely brilliant. Because what you do with Misty's Gyarados is that you trash the top 7 cards of your deck, or discard the top 7 cards of your deck, and then you do 70 damage for each Misty's Pokemon you find there, and that's a lot of damage potentially. But it also means discarding the top 7 cards of your deck, and we've got some ways to help out with this. We got ourselves a Magikarp that, while it's on the bench, it doesn't take bench damage. That's going to help it survive a little longer. And we got a Psyduck with a phenomenal little ability here that says, while it's on the bench once during your turn, you can put this on top of your deck as long as you discard the bottom card of your deck first. So we got this whole thing going on with Gyarados where you're doing potentially big damage. You're doing up to 490 damage. You're never going to need to do 490 damage. But, you know, in theory, you are doing that much damage. It's phenomenal. The problem is, you're asking a lot. You're discarding the top 7 cards of your deck with this. You're discarding the bottom card of your deck with Misty Psyduck. It is a lot to do. So what you really need with this, and don't get me wrong, right? If you're taking like giant 2-prize KOs, this is brilliant. You can literally one-hit KO like those new Mega EXs, like Gardevoir with 360 HP. You can be one-hit KOing them. So look, when it comes down to it, this is doing huge damage. But the thing with Misty's Gyarados is it's asking too much, and when you're not against a big giant Pokemon, you want something that can just sit there and take easy KOs. That is where Misty Starmie comes in. It sits there to take out the single prize Pokemon, the Pokemon that are weak. If you end up against a gouging fire deck, which are kind of trendy right now, this is going to be just an absolute way to run through that matchup, and it's going to be hilarious. But there's going to be plenty of times where Gyarados is just too much, and it's too much effort to use Gyarados turn after turn. That's where Starmie comes in. But what's going on? Oh, let's go and go ahead and give it between 3 and 4 Wassies. We don't give half Wassies. That would be barbaric. On its own, it's fine. But in the context of, I've got this Pokemon that does ridiculous damage, but actually it's a lot of effort. Can I have something that does decent damage with far less effort? Like a stage 1 single energy, for example. Yeah, in that context, it's really good. But what's going on with Misty? Well, I can tell you that Misty Psyduck is the first Misty's card in the set because it's number 22 and we've seen like 21 and all of that. Fine. And I can tell you that Misty Psyduck is 22, Misty Staryu is 23, so we know there's no Misty's Golduck coming. That's confirmed with this Staryu. This Staryu confirms there's no Misty's Golduck. And then Misty's Starmie is 24, Misty's Magikarp is 25, Misty's Gyarados is 26. But 27, 28, 29, 30, 31 and 32, they are up for grabs. We've not seen them yet. So I'm saying we could end up having a Misty's bunch of Pokemon. There's actually a bunch of space for Misty's Pokemon. We're not getting anything before Psyduck, but there are 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32. There are 6 spaces after Misty's Gyarados that could be taken up by Misty's Pokemon. That is absolutely an option. Similarly, we've got some spaces here for trainers. Like, we know that Arven's Greedent is 55 and Sacred Ash is 56. So we know Sacred Ash is the first of them. And we know that Arven's Sandwich is 57. But then we don't know what 58 and 59 are. We don't know what 61 and 62 are. 60 is Cynthia's power weight. So we've got 4 spaces here for trainers which are currently unassigned. And that's not to say that they're all going to be Misty's cards or that any of them are going to be Misty's cards. But it is to say that they are open. They are possible. And that's kind of important. We have 4 spaces for potential Misty's trainer cards. Between Arven Sandwich and Cynthia's Power Weight, there are 2 cards that we don't know. Between Cynthia's Power Weight and Ethan's Adventure, there are 2 cards that we don't know. We know that there are those 6 spaces at the end of Water Pokemon after Misty's Gyarados, and that's not to say they're all going to be Misty's Pokemon. They could be non-Misty's Pokemon Water Pokemon. That is absolutely possible. But I'm saying right now, I am cautiously optimistic about Misty's cards. I think Gyarados has a lot of potential. Play it with a bunch of cards that recover Pokemon from your discard pile into your deck. Play it with Misty Psyduck. And then actually, yeah, this could work. But the one thing it really needed was an ordinary everyday run-of-the-mill attacker when you weren't taking big 2 and 3 prize KOs. And I think Starmie will do that. Is it enough right now? Arguably not. But we literally have Gyarados, Starmie, Psyduck, and then the pre-evolutions. That is it. That is all we've got from Misty so far. And there are a bunch of spaces in the set currently unassigned which could be used for them. So I'm just saying, watch this space. There's more. I'm sure there's more Misty stuff coming. And I honestly think Misty Starmie makes a big difference to a potential Misty's deck. But I also think there's more coming that could make more of a difference, and this could be awesome. So there we go. That's what we need to know. And now it's over to you guys. Do you think the Misty's deck is shaping up nicely, or do you think it's going to ultimately end up being a little disappointing? Let me know in the comment section, would ya? Good us! Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at the Wasi. That's where we talk about Pokemon and a whole bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, join a Discord, and all kinds of fun things. And get shoutouts on the channel like the lovely Tamberlin, who's been a supporter of ours for a while now and is a very lovely person. So shout out to them for the support and the loveliness. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourself till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.